esteemed learners, welcome to SWAM online lecture series on the topic Database Management System. Myself, Mohammad Bukhari, working as a professor in the Department of Computer Science at Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh. I am pleased to have you join me today as we explore the fascinating realm of data, database, and database management system. In the next few minutes, we will journey through a mini project to university record management system that will form a backbone for modern information system that form backbone for modern information system, which is database management system. The agenda is to discuss. We have to create a mini project on the university record management system using MySQL server. In the previous, we have discussed. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about the database management system, how you create a URMS, and you have already created the student tables, teachers tables, course tables, and enrollment tables, and then discuss about the executed commands, select, insert. So today we'll discuss about execution of commands on University Record Management System URM. Execution of query on URM, the experiment 1 which I have discussed, which I have given in the last lecture. How can we update the enrollment information for a particular student in a specific course? How can we delete a particular enrollment from the tables? How can we alter the tables to add a new column, say semester, to store all the information for each enrollment? How can we drop the semester column from the table? So next is, how can we retrieve the enrollments for a specific students? We start one by one. How can we update the enrollment information for a particular student in a specific course? You can see on the screen. You have to write in MySQL update enrollments, set grade is equal to A plus within quote, where a student ID is equal to 1 and course ID is equal to 1. Then semicolon, when you will press, it will show query OK, one row affected. It means you have updated the enrollment tables. So how you can see by select command whether you have the grade is upgraded or not. So here on the screen you can see select a star from enrollments, then enrollment ID, student ID, course ID, enrollment date and grade will display on the screen. You can see, and then 4-1-1 1st September 2003 and grade A plus. Okay, enrollment course ID is here 1 and student ID is here 1. So the grade was before A, it will become A plus. The 5 is the same, no problem. The row is. In this way, you are able to update information in the enrollment table. How can we delete a particular enrollment from the table? Suppose you want to delete. For that, you have to write delete from enrollments where enrollment ID is equal to 4. When you will press semicolon, you have to write semicolon, then you press, then the query is okay, will return. Then you want to see In MySQL, you have to write select a star from enrollment. Then you are able to see on the screen, you can see enrollment ID, student ID, course ID, enrollment date and grade 5 to 5th September 2003 and the grade B. One row is deleted. It means the enrollment number ID has been 4 has been deleted. Before it was 2 record, it will become 1. Then the next question, how can we alter the table to add a new column, say semester? In MySQL, you have to write alter table. Table name is enrollments. You have to add a semester, add column semester varchar 10. When you press, it will OK will return. Then you want to see whether is will column is added or not. You have to write select a star from enrollments. You can see on the screen enrollment ID, student ID, course ID, enrollment date, grade and the semester will be added. This is null because here you have not defined not null. So in this way we are able to alter the table enrollments. Then how can we drop the semester column from the table? Suppose you have added, then you want to know it will deport, the requirement has finished, so you want to drop. So how you will write? In MySQL you have to alter table enrollment, then drop column semester. When you will press or query OK will be displayed. You can see on the screen. When you write select a star from enrollment, see here before it was the semester was added, here the enrollment ID, student ID, course ID, enrollment date and grade will be there, and the semester has been dropped out. How can we retrieve the enrollment from a specific students? Suppose we want to do that. For that, in MySQL, you have to write select a star from enrollment where student ID is equal to 2. Suppose you give ID 2. It will display on the screen like enrollment ID, student ID, course ID, enrollment, grade. Only one record, the record of a student who has a student ID is 2, 5, student ID 2, course ID 2, enrollment date is 5 September 2003 and the grade B will be displayed. One record will be displayed because only one student ID to contains in the tables. The execution query on URM for experiment second part. Therefore, so second part, how can we retrieve all enrollments along with the corresponding students and the course information? Next question is, how can we find total number of enrollment in the tables? How can we retrieve the latest enrollment date for each student? How can we retrieve all enrollment for a specific course? How can we retrieve the average grade for all the enrollments? So, start one by one. First question is, how can we retrieve? We have to retrieve information from database or enrollment along with the corresponding student and the course information both. So here we have to join two tables. So here you have to write select E dot star, comma S dot student name, comma C dot course name from enrollment E, join students S on E dot student ID is equal to S dot student ID. Then you have to join courses C on E dot course ID is equal to C dot course ID. When you will press, it will display on the screen like that. Enrollment ID, student ID, course ID, enrollment date, grade, student name and the course name. Enrollment ID is 5, student ID is 2, course ID is 2, enrollment date is 5th September 2003, grade is B, student name is Alice Smith and the course name is Calculus First. So by that we are able to get. The next query, how can we find the total number of enrollment in the tables? How many students can take the enrolled? So in MySQL, you have to select count. I've already explained in the previous lecture. Star as total enrollment. This is Alice. From enrollments, when it will press total enrollment 1, it will say. For that also you have to write select a student ID. Here you run for student, for each student select a student ID. Then here the maximum, the max enrollment date as latest enrollment date as alias, it will display on the result latest enrollment date from which table? From enrollment table, group by a student ID. It will arrange a student ID. So student ID 2, and who is that? I hope you are able to retrieve the latest enrollment date. The next query, how can we retrieve all enrollments from a specific course? You have to write select a star from enrollment where course ID is equal to 2. Here question is specific course. Course ID is equal to 2. When you will press, it will display course enrollment ID, a student ID, course ID, enrollment date and the grade. The student ID is 2, course ID 2, and the enrollment date is 5 September 2023 and the grade B. A specific course ID is equal to 2. Next question, how can we retrieve the average grade for all the enrollments? In MySQL, you have to write select average AVG within bracket grades as average grade from enrollment tables. Semicolon, when you enter, it will display average grade because ALS, you have to find average grade, and the 0. The experiment part 3 will discuss how can we retrieve all enrollments made by the student with email address from a specific domain. This is a complex query. How can we retrieve enrollment from course offered by a specific department? How can we retrieve enrollments for course with credit hours greater than a specific values? How can we retrieve the earliest enrollment date for each courses? So let us start one by one. How can we retrieve enrollments made by a student with email addresses from a specific domain? So here you have to define. So here you have to find select a star e dot star. It means for a student enrollment. Join a student S on e dot student ID is equal to dot student S dot student ID, where a student email like example like @example.com, a specific that. So when you will press, it will display, you can see on the screen, enrollment ID, a student ID, course ID, enrollment date and the grade 5, 2, course ID 2, enrollment date is 5 September 2023 and the grade B when will be selected. In this way, we can retrieve enrollments made by the student with email address from a specific domain. The next question is how we can retrieve enrollments from course offered by a specific department. For that, you have to use a join conditions, and the where condition is the select e dot star from enrollment E. Then you have to join course because the course offered course C on E dot course ID is equal to C dot course ID, where C dot course department is equal to computer science. Of specific department, I have defined here computer science. When you will press how can we retrieve enrollments for courses with credit hour greater than a specific values? So here also you have to join one other tables. Select E dot star from enrollment E, join course C on E course ID is equal to C course ID. The common attributes is course ID of imply course ID of the course must be equal, where the C course credit hours is greater than a specific value. Suppose I have given credit value of 3. Here when you will press, it will display enrollment ID, a student ID, you can see on the screen course ID, enrollment date and the grade 5, student ID 2, course ID 2, enrollment date is 5/7/2003 and the grade B. The next question, how can we retrieve the earliest enrollment date for each courses? So here you have to write select course ID, then earliest, it means minimum. We take the min enrollment date as earliest enrollment date from enrollment. So from enrollments group by course ID you have to arrange. So course ID earliest enrollment date you can see on the screen, it will display on your computer also 2/5/2003. The last experiment part 4 I have given. The first question is how can you retrieve enrollment where the grade is higher than a specific value? How can we retrieve the enrollment with highest grade? How can we retrieve enrollment made after a certain date? How can we retrieve the number of enrollments for each course? How can we retrieve enrollment from the grade is null? So start one by one. How can we retrieve enrollments where the grade is higher than a specific value? Here you have to define. Then in MySQL you have to write select a star for enrollments where grade is greater than B. Then set is equal to 0, 0, empty set. How can we retrieve the enrollment with the highest grade? Select a star from enrollments where grade is, select maximum grade from the enrollment. Here the condition is given, the highest grade. Then the enrollment ID, student ID, course ID, enrollment date and the grade will display. Enrollment 5, student ID 2, course ID 2, enrollment date is 5/7/2003 and the grade B, one row will be selected. How can we retrieve enrollments made after a certain date? Then here select a star from enrollments where enrollment date must be greater than 1st September 2003. When you will press, you can see on the screen, it will display like that. Enrollment ID, student ID, course ID, enrollment date and the grade. Enrollment ID 5, student ID is 2, course ID 2, enrollment date is equal to 5th September 2003 because before 1st September, 5th September. How can we retrieve the number of enrollments for each courses? Select course ID, count, a star as enrollment count from enrollments group by course ID. When you will press, it will display on the screen course ID, enrollment count, course ID 1 and enrollment count is 1. One row is selected. It means we can retrieve one enrollment for each course. How can we retrieve enrollment where the grade is null? For that, in MySQL, you have to write select a star from enrollment where grade is null. It will display empty set. As we wrapped up today's discussion, I have discussed in detail about the retrieving of a database, about the how you will create database and the retrieving of database. I hope this discussion, I hope this discussion have equipped you with valuable insights and practical skills that is applicable to database management system endeavor. Thank you once again for active participations and we eagerly anticipate your presence in our upcoming lecture. See you soon in the next lecture. Thank you very much.